Hello, my name is Devin Olabari, and I'm a musician. I've been teaching for 20 years now. Since about 10 years ago, I started working together with a person named Walter Bender, and we created a visual programming language called Music Blocks.
So what Music Blocks really is at its essence is a collection of tools that children of all ages, even adults, even teachers, can use to bring science, technology, engineering, and mathematics into the curriculum. We can use this grand tradition of music and everything it brings to introduce some of these mathematical concepts.
I'm Nathan. This is my project. It's based on Symmetry. It uses pitch. My main theme is this 4-note measure. So play it real quick. So that's the theme. So it's going to be used throughout these start and action blocks. For the start block, it first sets the position to the left side of the screen and up 200, so around here. And does on every note of the theme, the action. The action basically draws the thing, so draws like the hump that you will see. So it's the pen size 15, forward, the pitch, and 12. The change in pitch times 12, turns right 90 degrees, forward, the note value, times 50 and goes left 90. After that, it repeats this 4 times. It sets the color to 0, which is red, like light red, purplish, and it plays the theme, which as you saw is the da 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 da, and then the set color 70, which is blue, and it uses invert block based on the note G, and then it goes 4th octave and scalar and inverts the theme. Set XY to -300, -200, so like around here. Again, it does every note action, so it draws, and then this thing repeats 4 times. Set color to 0 and the theme, and set color 50, and then it plays the theme but backwards. So the final result was this. So this is a drum machine within Music Blocks. I used a rhythm maker. I clicked to divide the groupings. These triplets were formed by changing this to a 3, and I exported it as a drum machine. So once we get rid of this, we can see that the drum machine creates 2 actions called a kick action and a snare action. So we could do that real quick on the whiteboard, visualizing with a box that has 2 voices. So right now the box is 1 whole note, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can make this more complex by subdividing it. So let's say this one, I wanna divide into 2. Now this becomes 2/4 because it takes up 2 beats of 4 beats. So now this becomes another 2/4. We could even go into 8th division by maybe dividing this one. So our result in this subdivision is da, 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 da. And then since we have the idea of this, we can use this in Music Block with the rhythm maker. Thank you for checking out my work.
Hi, I'm Siri, and this is my project. First, I set where it starts. So I set it to Ode to Joy, or Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. So this block on every note do action. It means that every time there's a note that's played, it will do this action. And in this action block, it sets the pen size to 10. And first it makes the mouse go forward by the amount of change in pitch times 12. Then it turns right 90 degrees. Then it goes forward note by note value times 50. And then it turns left 90 degrees. So this is what it does when it's playing. So that was my project. Yeah, like and subscribe. So today we'll be talking about symmetry. So here's a trick you can do to draw symmetrically. You draw a line down the middle, which is where it will reflect across. And then you could put two writing utensils together. And then you can move your hands at the same time. And it's an easy way to make things look symmetrical. So now what does symmetry look like in music? In this example of symmetry in music called scalar symmetry, the line of symmetry is where B is, or the middle line. Here, the E becomes an F, and a D becomes a G, and a C becomes an A. It's just that there's the other lines of the staff, and you're sticking to the staff. So what is a canon? A canon is where there's a melody with imitations following of it after a short set of time. For example here, this is a visual representation. So these are all different voices, and so where the line starts is where they start singing, and as you can see, there's a short delay after each, and you can, so they'll all be singing the same thing, but they'll start at different times. And eventually they'll all be singing at once, but they'll all be at different parts of the piece because they started at different times.
Well, I made a music blocks project. I put a start block, which you would take out of the action block thing. Then I got a forever block. Then I got set instrument, which you would get from, tone, set instrument. And then I got a note block, which I'll show you what we did to it. And then we took the name pitch octave with the sol and the 4 out, so then it would say silence. And then we went to pitch, and we put it on the pitch number. And I'm just gonna do if you press one of the mice, then it'll make the sound, and you can change the string on it. From E, you can change it to any other string. But you can also change the instrument on it. From bass, you can change it to any of these instruments, and then play that instrument on it. So this is my really funny version of the ear trainer 2. I changed all the photos to be something funnier instead. So when you play it, I got thumbs meow. Kissing. No. A cactus. So I made mine, the set instrument is guitar. It asks you what note do you hear in the interval. And that's the note, and I don't know what it is, because you're not supposed to know. I'm guessing different music notes. I'm only going up from do to fa. As you can see, you can change that. If you go to choose notes, it's from do to fa. So I can change that right here. So I can do do to do. That means
There's only one answer.
yeah, it's do. So I'm just gonna get this wrong real quick since I never heard it. And then you hear that, right? Those are the notes you're supposed to write in. I have no idea what they are because I'm just 8.
Now take a guess at what those are.
I'm thinking do, re.
Today, we're going to talk about the musical alphabet. So the musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We're going to spell out words using the musical alphabet, like dad, bad, and then we're going to put them into music blocks as notes and see how they sound in a song. So an example would be dad. It would sound like this. And then we could do that in music blocks and it would sound similar, and it's fun to make a lot of different funny sentences using the musical alphabet. Okay, so we talked about the musical alphabet earlier, and you can see it here. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then it circles back to A. I made a bunch of letters using the musical alphabet. So, and then they formed a sentence all together. So, bad, dad, fed, dead, ed. And each one has the set of notes. On bad, it has B, A, and D, which you can select by clicking on the letter and choosing a new one on this wheel of the musical alphabet. And then on dad, I have a different set of notes, D, A, and D, but they're all in separate actions. So like rooms, kind of boxes that you can open on a start, which plays all your actions all together. And we're gonna see how it sounds in a sentence. So that's how bad, dad, fed, dead, ed sounds in the musical alphabet. Today we're gonna do a metronome. So a metronome is a tool that you can use to help you keep on beat. It goes back and forth, so you can see it and you can keep track, but it also makes a sound. You can have a metronome that has 2 sounds, so one when it hits the left side, one when it hits the right side. And you can set it to different speeds. And in music blocks, we can make our own metronome with our own speed, our own sounds on each side. And the mouse creating the visual going like that, back and forth, back and forth. And you can use it to help yourself keep the beat. It's a really fun project to make. Here is the finished metronome. We have a master beats per minute. Here I have it set to 90. So that means that there's 90 beats per minute. And here I have the beats, a drum, a kick drum, and a snare drum. And they're all in a note. Then right after the drum, still in the same note, I have a set heading to 45. So that'll change the way that the mouse is facing. So if the mouse is facing like that, right? If you set the heading to 315, it'll now face here. And if you set it to 45, it'll face here. On the first note, I want to set the setting to 315 and then go forward. So forward here and then backwards. So backwards here. And it draws a little line. And then it turns right after that and it plays the next drum. And then it turns to the other side. Goes forward, backwards. Keeps doing that. And then that's your metronome. I set it to 42 right now and I can play it. And it's really slow. And then I could set it to something higher, like 208, which is the highest. And now it's going really fast. Or I could set it to what it was before, which was 90, and it's kind of like the middle, which is what you're gonna use probably. And it helps you keep track, and it's cool to know that when you're using the metronome that you made it. And it's pretty easy to set.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.